All right, so we are live now. My disclaimer, guys, on TikTok is I don't really look at comments right away because you're behind me. I can't see. I do the 30 minutes huddle. We're going to cover a various amount of things. If you miss it, just go to botjock.botjok.com and you can sign up for free and you can watch it under community events. So we did have a news. Where was it? Yeah, the core PC is what it was. Which is interesting. So we actually came down 4.6, and it was projected to hold at 4.7. So that is where we're getting some volatility. So let's talk about the SPY. As you guys know, I like to talk about what we did yesterday, kind of how we traded it, how the indicators did, and just kind of go through that. So if you look at here, the indicators called a long here, but this was at 8:30, so it wasn't quite market open. Obviously, we were near resistance levels, so we probably wouldn't have took that anyways. Even this one was not quite market open, so market open was about right here. You can see we came down to support level. This is when I was doing the huddle yesterday, and I remember I was kind of bummed. I was like, man, I would have took that put, but it's okay, right? Look how well the indicator did. It ended up coming out, flipped to a long right here. It did flip over to a long, which played out perfectly, right? Then it came over and we did call a short. This short call impressed me actually because you can see a clean head and shoulder. I mean, this was like this is a one when you get this call on top of a beautiful pattern like this, and you got some divergence. Like, I mean, you just take some big contracts, right? And the shoulder was kind of like a double top, right? So that's what caused that quick fall. It did find support, around the areas here on the order blocks, which caused it to push. This did flip into a long, which has played out well. I mean, look at this all the way up. It did not flip to a short. Even with the harmonic patterns popping up, we did not flip to a short. This was a little micro channel that we were following. It did break out in a quick scalp that some took, and then it reclaimed, right? So I just left. I like to leave that there just so you guys see what we're scalping. But you can see, I mean, the indicator is just spot on if you're using it. It did call a short here, but again, that's 7 a.m. It's pre-market, so it gets a little bit out of whack on those pre-markets like that. And even if, it called it, right, I mean, we still had a nice, from the call, I mean, it was about 20 cents or so. So it still would have made profit, not quite TP1, right? But we did get a flip into a long that it just called on this. But again, we're still pre-market. So we'll see what happens as far as when the market opens. Now, like, where do we go from here? So you can see I have this white line here that I've had since the beginning. I've had it here for a while, and you can see that we literally wicked to it and rejected. So it's acting pretty strong. Let's take a look and see what it is. So it looks like it is pretty long. So I must have pulled this one from the daily or something. Yeah, it looks like it's from these peaks here, right? So from back in December 2022, you have a peak. It looks like it broke the trend at one time, so it has been broken on that one. I'm looking right now because I swear I just moved it. I did. Ah! I just moved it because it was just above it and now it's below. But that's okay. Let's take a look at it again. Let me mute the harmonic one. That is why I typically like to lock my lines, but let's just take a look at it again. Yeah, you can see it's off a little bit. Let's go to a higher time frame so I get a little better view. Yeah, see, we're not quite capturing that. I would line that up something like that. Let's see how it looks close. Okay, so that one actually shows it actually broke it. I'm gonna delete a few of these because we did break these. And we're just going to reset a bunch of these lines. So I'm going to worry about that more later. On the 2-minute, guys, we're way over, way over bought on this now. Let's just go kind of see where we can go from here. If you go to the 1 hour, this is the one thing that I am watching. You can see we did peak up about 443.91. If you look at this, we pumped up, had our shoulder, our head, our shoulder. We did break down. We found support right here on this, which does not surprise me. We double bottomed, we flipped up, found support again, and pumped up again. So, where we go from here, we could see as high as 444 today, somewhere in this range. That is literally almost where this peak was. So I'm going to just place a line right here at the peak so we can watch that. If we do this, right, any rejection off of here is just going to be such a great put. And then be really careful also to not chase these. If the market opens really high like this, entering a call right at market open is just going to be super risky. It's not smart. Because we are entering that overbought zone again, where we are now. And we're also, if you think about it, right, if you go to like the daily or a little bit lower, this is what I talked about yesterday. On a longer term scale, we could be formulating this double top, right? Which could be where the nasty fall comes from too. So just keep a close eye. I would not chase the calls. Again, if you want to stay call, if you think, we're bull market, we're going up to the moon, all-time high SPY, that's fine. Just don't chase the candles, right? Wait for that pullback. So that's all I would say on SPY. So for me, I will not be taking a call on open. I will wait, let the indicators settle, and we'll see what those call. As far as the range goes, we're so oversold. Like I said, we could see a continued push north, 442, 443, and then a pullback all the way back to 440. If we break this white line on the pullback, right, then expect that further fall, right? That's what I would do. So. And if you want to trade SPY, that's what we trade pretty much every day anyways. VIX is just doing a whole lot of nothing, even with this crazy market movement. It's not really dropping. That's why I haven't really covered VIX a lot. You can see with this last news event, we had a nasty pullback here on the dollar, right? So I would anticipate the dollar probably will pull back a little further and try to find some support here where it found support here, right? That would be a key area to watch. So this would also cause that hit and that push north bounce. That push north bounce is what could be what pulls us back, right, for that temporary set. So let's take a look at some tech stocks, and then I'll spend about 10 minutes looking at a few of these. So I'm not going to go detailed in the TA, but let's look at Apple. Apple's just shattering its all-time highs, even in after hours. Apple's fun to watch. We actually watched it quite a bit lately. In the room, because it just the momentum that it has right now is just absurd, and like I've told y'all, I'm not taking calls on Apple, but I'm damn sure not taking puts, because the strength is just so impressive, and if you look back, even the pullbacks, they're not real strong. They're there, right, but they're not real strong, so taking those puts is really risky. For now, I would wait for a clear double top, head and shoulders, something that shows it's really gonna lose some steam before you take that put. So as far as how high we can go, I drew a line on Apple. It may take some time to get there, but we could see as high as this line here, right, 201 with Apple. But keep in mind, this is the long-term channel that I've been following with Apple here. We are getting in kind of a little bit of a wedge situation. And if you look at here, right, so if we open up right here, this one's on the pre. We might have already broke it. Let me pull this to, that's not the one I wanted. Let me uncheck that. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the pre is already, up in this area here. So it's already at the kind of the peak of that. So it might have already broke this channel. So we'll have to see. Like I said, Apple, man, it's too high for me to chase calls, and it's too strong for me to chase puts. So I'm just not touching Apple with a 10-foot broom. I was talking to people in the room yesterday about Apple. there's a lot of people that are making a ton of money because they're going real big and they're taking calls with this mindset of, you throw out money and it's just going to grow, right? Which it probably is for you if you're doing that, but it will until it doesn't, and that's about all I'm gonna say on that, because people are getting greedy with it. I promise you, and they're throwing all their chips in there. And that pullback, when it does come, it's gonna come really fast, and it's gonna hurt really bad. So let's take a look at Microsoft. So Microsoft had a nice little push. We are getting a bearish gap fill call temporarily on the 2-minute. Let's go to the 1 hour here and see where we're at. So we did break. Remember this channel we put here yesterday? We said if we broke this, it would break with some volume. So far it did. It is up against the same resistance that it's been up against. The only thing I will say with Microsoft is you kind of have this inverse head and shoulder going on, right? So if it can break this, the push north should be pretty good, probably as high as 347, right? But it has to break that. You can see, there's been a few attempts that it's tried to break it, that it couldn't do it. So not only is it trying to break a pattern, but it's trying to break the resistance line there. So this is in a pivotal spot. If you see this begin to break down, right, you could take that put. I probably would not take puts unless on the 1 hour we broke below like 334. Then I would be interested to ride that train down. For me to take a call, I'd want to see it break above, maybe hit 340, 341, come back for a retest of 338, and then once I see that support strength held, then I would take that call. I'm just going to kind of stick to the 1 hours on these guys so we can get through them. Amazon. So Amazon's just pushing up with everything else, really. You can see it found some support on the 200 EMA. That's what's pushing it up. It is coming up on the POC. The one thing I'll say that's interesting is we are here in a short on the 1 hour, but we do have a bearish gap fill call. So I could see a pullback at some point to at least 128 to fill this gap. But we're also at the lower range here, right? So there's still plenty of room to move up for sure. I would say the high, we can move up, shorter term would be maybe 130, 131. And then we would reject back down for a retest. So that's kind of the range that I would play. And let's see, last but not least, Google. So Google's been actually struggling compared to the other ones a little bit. So let's see. You can see from the fall, right? It's not recovering as well. So let's take a look at Google. A lot of what was kind of the thorn in Google's side, right, is we had this rounded top going on. And if you look at it, Google's actually one of the few that are below the 200 EMA, and it's held below. So as we continue to reject off this 200 EMA, you can take those puts. If we do flip this 200 EMA, though, the volume's going to come in a big way. It'll push up probably as high as 126 or so, but Google's not looking nearly as strong. So I would be really careful with your calls, because you got a long way to go before some good support, right? The kind of localized support level is 116, and then it could fall as low as 104. I don't think it's going to go that low quite yet, but you do have a little bit of a rounded kind of top look in here, right? So if it does come up here and then reject back down, right, you might end up with that inverted cup and handle, which could be pretty nasty. So I would steer clear of the calls for now on Google. Tesla I already kind of covered, but I did not record it, so I'm gonna leave that there. Yeah, so Tesla, on the 1 hour I had talked about earlier, it is calling a long right here on the 1 hour. We are above the 200 EMA, but we are near nasty resistance, so you don't really have a lot of room to do. So if you're gonna take those calls near open, I suggest it's quick in and out. If you want to hold it, or you want to take something a little longer term, I would just wait till it flips 265 and then holds that as support, right? Because once resistance becomes support, it's going to go up in a big way. As far as a put, I would take a put either off of a rejection of 264, 265 area, or I would take a put if we break below 251 or so, right? Then you can ride a nice little put down like this. And then, that's just blanket. If you're using our indicators, I mean, you can see how well these call it, right? So you got your double top call here. You got your purple fractal that played in perfect. You got the white fractal played in perfect. So we don't have a white or a purple here, right? So if we come up here, we get a purple. You can write that down. So this is why we have our indicators. In this kind of TA, y'all have to remember TA changes by the minute, right? Depending on news. There's so many variables that come into play that I could sit here and be like, guys, we're so bearish. I would take puts all day long, right? And then news pops out that pushes us north and breaks some crazy resistance. And I'm telling the whole room, guys, take calls, like we're riding this up. And then everybody on TikTok is like, man, you told me to take puts, right? The environment does change, and that's why we do trade live and we communicate in our room, because that environment does change. So I got about 12 minutes left. I'm not going to go too deep into these other ones, but I am kind of following Meta, QQQ, just quick look. I'll do just this. So on the QQQ, on the 1 hour, I'm just going to talk about the indicator. We have the slight bearish. There's some gap fill coming. Little bearish divergence on QQQ. On Meta, Meta's actually calling bullish on the 2 minute, so temporarily. That's interesting. On the 1 hour, it's not really calling bullish or bearish, and there's really no divergence. And you can see it's the range it's in is really, really tight with Meta. If you guys want some more detailed TA on something specific, you can either hang around until after this is done, or you can come in the room to trade. So let's take a look. I don't know if LTC got out on that because we just pumped, right? Because the only thing we had left was LTC for KuCoin. My advice to y'all yesterday was to close it. So I don't know if it got out or not. If it didn't, I hope y'all close it. Yeah, it didn't get out. Looks like it teetered right at the entry all day. So I'm going to let this ride. We haven't added that second DCA purposely, right? And look at that. That is why we did not add that second DCA, because of this exact reason right here. I hope y'all took my advice yesterday. If you guys want to go back and watch it, if you missed it, I recorded it. So, this is why I advise for y'all to close this. So, because you didn't want to get stuck and just take that beating. I'm going to add a DCA in here just in case the off chance somebody's still kind of hanging on. We can definitely add a second DCA now. It's going to be probably pretty high. I'm going to put the DCA just above this. If we get to like 103, 104, like I'm okay with popping that DCA, but it's going to be, it'll move your entry quite a bit too, so it'll help you out. That's why we were patient on that DCA. But again, I hope y'all just listened and closed that. And I really got to go high on this percent. What a run by LTC. Whew, man. There we go. We will rock that. That way we're just above. It will take it here in a bit. Yeah, I figured I have to add the webhook back because I was playing with some indicators. Oh, didn't want to open that one. This one you'll see here in a second. All right. Let me pull this off here so I can add this webhook. Apologize. I try to add this back in before I start, but at times I do not. ATA. We're just going to say LTC. It's the only one we're running anyways. Okay. All right. So let's make sure that adds back into the alerts here. And I'm going to let it run until it gets out. But again, I hope y'all closed it yesterday when I told you to. Let's make sure it loads here. There it goes. And we're live. So if you are stuck, you're copy trading, that's where it's going to be. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk about our options. So y'all know in the last 8 minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit about our copy trade for our options. We've had some amazing breakthroughs. We are using Tasty Trade for those who have asked to do options. We will be doing futures on stocks as well, but we're going to do options first, and then adding futures after that will be easy. So I'm going to touch a little bit on how the options is going to work. Keep in mind there is some tweaking that we are doing still with it. But this is a little bit of a snapshot of how the indicator would look on your chart. The concept is going to be the same. You all will either have the opportunity to copy trade. You're going to watch me do all the settings live on the huddles like this, or you're going to have the ability to have the indicator on your chart yourself to do it on your own if you want to. So this is a little bit of how it would look, right? We have some extra data in here that might not be there on the launch, because remember, we're in beta for it. But you can kind of see, all the trades that it took. I mean, a lot of really good trades. Didn't really need any DCAs all through this. When it did take its trade and it DCA'd, right, it ended up getting out. And you can see there is a stop loss here that it did take. So we took the call here, and then it was on a Friday, came through, right, the weekend popped, and the contract expired, right, and it did take that stop loss. And it did really well. We're still tweaking it, right? So we can even make this and perform, I think, better. But you can see as I flip this to put, right, it's still, even though the calls did really well, the puts did really well as well, right? So if you can do the call and the puts together, you can see where you took your put, did an amazing DCA, and bam, you're out, right, in profit. So it's looking really, really good. We have some more bells and whistles we're adding. We have some safety protocols for contracts. Obviously, trading hours we have to protect. So this is what this one's going to look like, or what it's coming towards looking like. It may change as we go. This is a little sneak preview. But you do have the ability to change how many days contracts you want the ATA to be. So if you want to let something run, you can. If you want to just scalp it, right, you can just do 0 days, right? The no trade zone, we're giving you the ability on the indicator to say, okay, 30 minutes before close or an hour before close of market, I don't want to take trades. Like, I just don't. Like, there's no point in taking a trade when you got 30 minutes to get out if you're in a short contract. So you have that control, right? Obviously, your strike price, if you want to have a cheaper contract so you can trade a little more frequent, or if you think the market's really going to shift, you can adjust that price. We can only gauge it by percent. So what we did is, when you choose that percent, it's going to give you this real thick white line. And you can see this is 434, and it did a strike price of 433, right? 434.8. So you'll be able to gauge how many dollars away, because of the way we have to pass it through. Obviously, for options, it's going to round it up or down, and so that's why you'll see those hard numbers like that. And we'll have full training on all that. Take profits can be a lot tighter. You can change them if you want to, but the fees are like nothing, so they can be tighter. DCAs, we're going to default it probably with 1. You can add more if you want. If you're taking a 7-day contract and you want to add some DCAs, right, you can. And then we're also adding in our normal stop loss feature. We have stop trades after a stop loss is hit. Stop trade end of day, right? So what that's going to do is, if I choose stop trade end of day like this, it's going to basically not care how many days contract I have. At the end of the day, no matter whether it's in profit or it's at a loss, it's going to stop it. And that's where you start to see these closes come through, right? Is because it's gonna stop it at the end of the day, but it's gonna stop it at the end of the day based on your time here, right? So my time is I have here is 1500. So if I were to move, that's why a lot of those are coming through 1500. So if I say, okay, I'm gonna give it till 1545, you're gonna see that this will shift over, see, now to 1545. Sometimes it will help you, sometimes, like here, it will hurt you, right? That's part of the back testing that you'll have to play with. But this is a feature that is extremely important for options, as all who trade options, because you may not want to carry a trade over. You may say like, hey, look, either it was a positive day or it wasn't, but I don't want to worry about it overnight. I just want to let it trade for the day, end of day, whatever, wherever we're at, just kill it, right? That is an option. We want to give you all that option too. So those are some kind of bells and whistles we're adding into this right here. Currently, we're only going to trade the SPY. The only two strategies we like for the SPY are parabolic SAR and support and resistance. Any other strategies are just too aggressive on there. You do have the option to go call or put, which is going to be awesome. But it's going to be super, super exciting, guys. I think it's going to do very, very well. You can see, if you don't have that end of day, right, if you decide that, you want to put some extra money in there, so you want to, take longer contracts, right? So let's say I take, 7-day contracts. You can see that it virtually gets out of most everything. You can see right here it took a stop loss here. That's about a $2 something separation, right? So it's going to be, a decent loss. But if you look at this, right, it makes it back really quick on that. And depending how you do your days, this is the best part about what we offer. Many companies out there, they run these bots and it's just like, hey, we have a bot. Do you want it or do you not, right? With ours, you have all the control, right? I have all the control. That's what we do, is we put the power in your hands to make that determination. Maybe I don't want to take a 410 put and ride this sucker to 417, right? And DCA and end up stopping out. Maybe I don't want to let it go that long, right? And that's where you can also set, enable stop losses, right? We'll correct this, but this stop loss right here is for this percent here. So let's say I'm like, I want to set a stop loss at 2%, right? Then it's not going to let that run like that. It's going to just kill it right here. Now, you obviously, part of the training we'll do, right, is you don't want to have your DCA multiplier or percent lower, or higher than what your stop loss is, or you don't really want them close. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it there, right? So you can kind of tweak those settings to see, okay, if I did a 2%, that protects me from being super deep in a put, right? If it gets that deep, it's just going to stop out. And then the beauty is the moment it stops out, even if it stops out, right, it's going to immediately start attacking to earn that back, right, on that trend. And you can see it like here, how that did that. So super exciting. We've been working hard. I was up till about 2 a.m. last night, working through this. We're like right there, guys, right there. So today we're putting it to the test on some live trades. We'll probably do the same Monday and Tuesday. And if everything's rolling as it should, right, no hiccups, no errors, which I don't anticipate any. We're hoping to be able to launch this one as soon as Wednesday. So, my suggestion, if you're on TikTok, if you want something like this, is, just go to botjock.com, sign up for now, for at least for a free one. Start looking at what we offer, create a Tasty Trade account. I'll put some links in our website as well to help people out with that, just because it's going to take time for you to fund that, right? And so you want to have the account created, you want to have it funded, ready to roll, so that way once we release this, boom, you sign up, get in, and let's make some money, right? And I'll close with this. Again, you can play this two ways. You can have the indicator, put it right on your trading view, have full control, do everything on your own. Or, yes, we will have the option to copy trade. I will be able to manage all these settings, and I will take these trades with or for you, right? So, but a lot of good stuff. So we'll talk more about it in the room. I do have 901 TikTok Hangout. I'll look at questions here in just 1 second. But real exciting. So we'll see you guys soon. I'm gonna, for those in the community, I'm gonna trade probably today, but I'm gonna be patient because I'm not taking a call up here. I'm just not. So if I see a good Friday setup, pump, and then around noon it sets up for a dump, I might take that contract, because we're so high in the range that it could be just an amazing put if it sets up correctly. So, but we'll be patient. We'll wait for the indicators, not jump the gun. So. You can see on the 2-minute we just got a bearish gap fill call. So actually this is ETH. I'm not on SPY. There you go for ETH. ETH, I didn't touch on the TA for Bitcoin and ETH. Apologize on that. Bitcoin, again, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but you know, we talked about this already yesterday. We can get as high as 31.4. I don't know that I see us breaking, you know, 31.2, 31.3. We'd have to have some pretty decent steam, and it's already kind of head and shouldering a little bit. ETH, it doesn't surprise me we stopped here. We keep talking about 1900 to 1920 is just ridiculous resistance. If we happen to flip 1930 as support, then the push north will be ridiculous. But other than that, yeah, we'll probably see some potential cool off. But obviously the news is bullish, right? Everything pushed up. So appreciate your time, and TikTok I'll check out and see